Hello again, folks. This is Derek, or Lycan 101, coming at you again on December 25th with another video. Yes, I know, it's been a while, so I thought I'd give you a gift of two, maybe three videos tonight. This video is going to be about the campaign that I recently ran this past semester for my role-playing club. Well, I shouldn't say it's my role-playing club, it's my school's role-playing club, and what campaign I ran for them. Well, first things first, it was a game of Pathfinder, and it was an overwhelming success, I would say, given the fact that I had 9 player characters. Yeah, quite a large group. And most of them were fairly new to the Pathfinder system. A few of them had looked at it before, and I had 2 players who were thankfully in a previous campaign of mine, also which had been Pathfinder, and they were able to sweep along some of the newbies and help them out. So I thought, first things first, before I talk about how the campaign went and what it was about, I'd talk a little bit about characters. So forgive me, there are 2 characters of which I can't remember their names, but in my own defense, there were 9 of them, and these 2 that I can't remember are the ones that died the most. I can tell you what they all were before they died, and what their other characters were, just not their names. But anyway, that's besides the point. Let's get back. Ooh, excuse me, I just hit the computer. Get down to my list, shall we? There was Alora. Alora was the halfling sorceress. She was the Protean bloodline, which I believe can be found in the Ultimate Magic book, or is it the Advanced Player's Guide? Either which, that's what she was. We had Telos, who later became known as the Champion of Strength, who was a tiefling fighter, and founded his own, suppose you could call it, secret society or religion-ish kind of thing, called Warriors of the Claw, which centered around a metal gauntlet that, through the course of the game, founded its own intelligence and was a metal claw gauntlet that the character worshipped and then began creating a cult around. It's very interesting. Then we have Nivivara Alder, who is an elven cleric, and his nickname was Nav because he was a cleric of the travel deity in my world, which is Baymond, if any of you have seen my deities videos. And Baymond, let's just say, favored him again, and then not so much towards the end of the campaign. However, Nav did like to have a tendency to run away from the party and try to lead the way and say onward to victory and to travel, which didn't end very well most of the time for him, but that's besides the point. Then we have Roger, the dwarven rogue, who likes to visit the seedier sides of the streets and partake with the, oh, how shall I put this, the women of the night, for those of you who know what that means. And he went to them religiously. He's also a very talented thief and stole from the party more than once. Then we had V, who was actually, his name is Victor, but everybody called him V. And he was the half-orc bounty hunter who refused to do anything within the party without first realizing or figuring out who was going to pay him. So think about any time it was time for Victor to attack or a combat was about to start, he would look around the party and says, "Who's paying me for this?" It led to some very interesting party dynamics. Needless to say, of course, of the 9, there were only 2 lawful characters, the rest were neutral, or varying degrees of neutral, so yes, I had my hands full as a DM. Then we had Varkor Knight, the Dhampir druid with a wolf companion. Varkor was an interesting character. He was a new player, new to the entire Pathfinder experience, and he tried his very best to win battles and suck the blood of enemies, but it didn't work out very well. He was very clumsy for a half-vampire. For those of you who aren't aware, that's what Dhampir means, is half-vampire. Then we had Lucretia. She was a female tiefling druid, and her tiefling ancestry was that of a succubus, so she was very provocatively charming to the males of the party, and used that wily nature of hers as often as she could to get what she wanted out of the rest of the party. Then these 2 characters, the ones whose names I can't remember, unfortunately, but they know who they are if they're watching the video. This next character is the one that its player was the one that died the most often, and it wound up being just a plain old standard human fighter, sword and shield guy, lots of AC, lots of armor, or lots of health, you know. But throughout the course of the campaign, he originally started off as an elven magus, who was then assassinated, and then became an elven alchemist, who then sacrificed himself to try to kill one of the minor bosses in the campaign, and that boss got away, so it was needless sacrifice. Also, that's the alchemist that ran headfirst into a group of monsters and then lit the bombs on fire. It wasn't very smart. And then he wound up being the fighter. And last but certainly not least was one of my more favorite characters, and I liked what he'd had before. It wound up being a Dhampir fighter, which meant that the half-vampire fighter was wielding two swords and diving in and out of combat, skewering things in half, and then devouring their flesh as it sucked their blood. Oh, actually, I've completely forgotten somebody, so I guess it was 10 players. Wow, even larger than I remember. But people come in and out of the group due to homework and other engagements at school. And this was Silpe, our beloved human, I believe. No, elven ranger. 2 swords, 2 scimitars, and who, over the course of the campaign, found herself with a direwolf puppy that aged progressively faster and grew in size, and she was rather fun to have around. She made for some interesting actions in combat. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was the party for the Infection campaign that I ran. Some of you have seen in my earlier videos that there is a trailer for the Infection campaign. It deals with a demon summon to the material plane who then spreads disease and basically wants to bring about the end of the world. So, quick recap of what actually happened, just to give you guys a little overview of what happened in the campaign. The players are trying to stop this demon, and they learn that it was summoned by a secret group called the Arcana Suprema, who believe that all those with magic should be ruling over those without. And they met one of its higher members, whose name is Faust, elven alchemist, who is the one responsible for the summoning of the demon. And through several attempts to kill him, in which he gets away and basically gives the PCs lots of trouble, is eventually killed in the final climactic battle against the demon and Faust in a graveyard in the large port city on the eastern coast of my setting, which is called Trevath, and the continent of Kygrium, or rather the world of Kygrium. I have recently renamed the continent in my setting and is now known as Kalimros, and the world is Kygrium. So in the eastern coast of Kalimros is Trevath, and in a graveyard is where the final battle took place. Epic battle where the halfling sorceress is utterly slaughtered and a few other players go down before the half-vampire fighter who worships the Horseman of Death, asks Death as the ultimate sacrifice of taking his soul and whatever other souls he needs from his party and damning them eternally, or whatever the Horseman wants to do with their souls, in order to create an avatar of Death to help take out the demon. And that was how the game ended, with some of the party living and fleeing the battle as their once and former ally, the half-vampire, sells his soul and the souls of the other fallen players and becomes a giant avatar of Death in the form of a mighty Grim Reaper standing roughly 15 feet tall with bone wings and a dark hood and billowing black miasmic cloud all around him that slides forth with a sweep of his amazingly large scythe and kills the demon. And the only reason that he doesn't go stampeding around is that then Death destroys the avatar and takes their souls. They met a variety of interesting characters over the course of the campaign, including some of the characters from my previous campaigns, including which are now Heroes of Legend, which include the gnome professor, Alf Chickalauff, who has founded a how shall I call it? A school of artifice, I guess I should call it. And he's in the midst of trying to invent a flying machine. And the paladin Pivnivatovic, basically the right hand of one of the gods, a complete total divine warrior, nicest guy you'll ever meet, complete and total killing machine. And Fell Knight, who is the leader of the once proud and majestic Knights of the Order of the Blackened Rose, who are especially good at killing demons. However, the order has fallen down to its final 4 members, one of which is Fell Knight. And I know this probably makes no sense, and I'm just listing off random characters that occurred, but I hope you all are enjoying my random blurb about the campaign. So, it was a wonderfully good campaign. I enjoyed it so much. I will say that DMing for 9-10 people is rather ridiculous, given that you have combat that can go on and on for hours, especially that last boss battle. That last boss battle went on for about 4 hours, I think, just because of how many people there were in combat. The PCs roughly ended the campaign around level 9 or 10. Like I said, a few of them died, some went on. A few of the characters have expressed interest in playing again in different campaigns. They've also expressed interest into what is happening to their characters in my world now that the campaign is over. One of the characters actually, through a course of events in the campaign, is now a count or baron in a region in the northwest of my setting called the Shadowlands. And Telos, the tiefling who had the claw in his religious order, is now going to head that way into the northwest in the Shadowlands with the Count and set up a shadowy religion or cult there in the northwest. So overall, it's a very interesting campaign. The Pathfinder Infection campaign ran for a semester at school, which was roughly, I want to say, September through December, roughly about that time frame. So we met every Friday at 6 p.m. and went till mostly about midnight, 1 o'clock. So roughly 6 hours of gaming every Friday, give or take a few weeks for trips or just regular vacation time. So roughly I'd say maybe about 10-15 sessions of really hardcore gaming. So it was really good, and everybody had a great time, and it was all around great fun, and I will definitely be DMing again for that club, just not this next semester. I'm going to take a step back from the role-playing club as a DM and DM a Saturday group that is actually continuing their adventures from a previous year at school. So I hope you've enjoyed my 13-minute spiel about the Infection campaign and my random adventures and characters that have been happening, and I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas. If you're watching this after Christmas or years down the road, if this channel stays up that long and it's Christmas time again, Happy Future Christmas, or Happy Future whatever day it is. So I will probably post one more video tonight. I will see you guys there, and thanks for supporting my channel. All of you new subscribers, thumbs up to you. Thanks for your support. All the old subscribers, 2 thumbs up for you guys. What else? I don't know. Just have a wonderful day, and I will see you all later.